Hello everybody, Sweet Turtles is officially back. I have a brand new computer so I can finally make videos again. And to come back to this tremendous comeback, I don't know, I give you SwemeRants episode 2. Now, today we are playing Five Nights at Freddy's Secret the Mimic because we will be talking about Five Nights at Freddy's and other indie horror games because they're somewhat a big part of my, I won't say life, but just things I'm interested in. FNAF, Bendy, Baldi, Tattletale, some other things that we'll get to. So yeah, I just want to talk about kind of whatever. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Again, it's unscripted, so I'm going to stutter a lot. I'm going to think a lot. There's going to probably be some cuts because thinking. So yeah, let's just get into it. So yeah. Alright, well, the first thing I feel like should be talked about is obviously Five Nights at Freddy's. I mean, it's a pretty huge thing for me. As I've been a fan of it for I don't even know how long. It's probably since 2015. I want to say FNAF 4. Yeah, it's just been a good thing. It's had its ups and downs, some really low lows. More than I want to admit as a fan of the series, but you know, it is what it is. It happens. So yeah, let's see FNAF. You know, it. Do I think Scott thought it was gonna be as big as it is? No, I honestly don't. Um, and I feel like the main one to thank for that is Markiplier.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
You know, Markiplier just being the channel that he was at the time really helped. And I guess Yami Mash, if you know who that guy is, you know, I definitely do. I mean, if it tells you anything, Tobuscus
Google is they cutting food stamps, Google is they play.
FNAF video got less views than Yami Mash, and a lot more people know Tobuscus. But anyway, that's besides the point. So yeah, you know, I don't think Scott intended for FNAF to be what it is today, but here we are. Thanks to Markiplier making that video, I think FNAF became bigger than anyone really expected. The videos, the online space for it at the time was really huge and big, and that's what really helped it get to what we're looking at right now. Poppy's Playtime, indie horror game. And I think it's great that other developers saw what Scott did with FNAF and was like, maybe we can do the same thing. Now, I think the most successful ones were Bindi and the Ink Machine and Baldi's Basics, as weird as it may sound. I guess you could say Poppy Playtime, but that I don't like Poppy's Playtime. Now, with the popularity of FNAF, I mean, the fact that we were able to get FNAF 1 and FNAF 2 in the same year is kind of crazy to me because FNAF 2 is a much bigger game than FNAF 1, especially since it has the most animatronics in any FNAF game besides Ultimate Custom Night and I think Ultimate Custom Night's it actually. I think, yeah. Uh, I personally, you know, like FNAF 2 more than FNAF 1 just because of its difficulty scale. I like FNAF 1's atmosphere more, but FNAF 2 is just more my style. I like the difficulty of it. But you know, I feel, you know, then we got FNAF 3, which wasn't as scary, it was more story based, and then we got FNAF 4, which is a lot more scary. It was the scariest game at the time, and you know, still is to this day, in my opinion. Well, I think the VR games are scary, but that's because they're, you know, VR games. You can't really, you know, I think Help Wanted 1's more scary than Help Wanted 2, but we get to that later. Um, I set the this is off topic, really off topic. I set the volume to 0, and yet I could still hear them. Really weird. Anyways, and then FNAF 4, it had some good story. We got more lore on the crying child, and the Afton family. Um, but it was more scary, and I think that's what really drew people into FNAF 4 was the scariness of it. And its sister location kind of revolutionized FNAF. I mean, I don't think I would be able to walk around without sister location and the free roam games like T-Jock and stuff. Especially T-Jock. T-Jock is a phenomenal game, and I cannot wait for the remake. Um, it added the voice acting to FNAF. It added the moving around instead of being in one area. I mean, FNAF 4 did that too, but you were still stuck in that one bedroom. While with Sister Location, you moved through vents to different areas. You had different mini games you had to do. Each night was somehow different, and I think that was really cool. I love Sister Location. I get why some people may not, but just what Sister Location did for FNAF, I think was great. And then we had a little break for a little bit, honestly. We had FNAF World, but that was pre-Sister Location. I love FNAF World. I just kind of I like RPGs. And I think FNAF World is a phenomenal game. It's a really goofy game, and I know Scott hates it with a passion, but FNAF World 2 would be amazing. And Pizzeria Simulator, I think, is one of the best games, especially the story. Henry's speech is phenomenal, and it's some of the best writing, and wow, I personally believe in FNAF's history. I just think that speech is so good, and Henry's voice actor did a great job. Um, Same with Baby's voice actor. She did amazing at the beginning part of it too. Um, but Sister Location kind of changed the format by moving a lot, Pizzeria Sim brought it back to the basics of sitting back in the office while having the Pizzeria Sim. And then after Security Breach, we got not Security Breach. Wow. Um, Pizzeria Sim, we got Ultimate Custom Night, which is good. It was just kind of a one-off thing, but it is lore with it being William Afton's personal hell. I think that's really cool what Scott did with it. Um, and stuff. I think it's a pretty cool idea that after all the pain Afton caused, he finally goes through the same things that everyone else experienced due to his acts of murder. After uh I believe after Ultimate Custom Night, we got Help Wanted 1. And I love Help Wanted. I think Help Wanted is a great game. It has the mini games. You get to play FNAF 1, 2, 3, technically 4, and a little bit of sister location in VR. And I think it's great. It's scary. It kind of feels like you're playing a new game, in a way. The parts and service are great. Vent repair, dark rooms. I think they're great mini games. Glitch Trap was introduced, which we all know whose favorite animatronic that guy is.
Okay, I really like it.
Darko, what?
I can't remember. Security Breach. We'll just go with Security Breach. Which was Steel Wool's second FNAF game after Help Wanted. And I like Security Breach. It definitely has its flaws, a lot of them. Um, but I like it for what it is. I don't. I think Secret the Mimic is a better game than it, but I don't hate Security Breach as much as I did when it first came out. And then after Security Breach, we got not really anything. We got the Into the Pit spin-off game. I think it's great. I like that game. I think it's fun. 5 hours of being in one night. So I think it's fun. I like those types of games. I like Help Wanted 2. I don't think it's as scary as Help Wanted 1. It definitely has its moments of scariness, but I believe it's more mini games. Has more mini games, which I like. I love the mini games. And, I loved the game so much that I even finished it on my channel, definitely not missing one, definitely not missing one video. I would never do that. I would never not finish a series. Yeah, Help on 2 is good. Oh yeah, sorry, I completely forgot. Security Breach Ruined. I freaking love Ruined so much. It is such a good DLC, especially for being free, and is what I wish Security Breach was from the beginning. It is scary, it's tense, is it perfect? No, it's still not perfect, but it is so much better than main game Security Breach, and I love it so much. I think it is Cassie is such a good character, and I'm really hoping we get Ruin 2 or something continuing after the elevator fall because it's so good. It's what introduced the mimic in the games. I think it's great. Anyway, and then after Help On 2, we're now here with Secret of the Mimic. I think Secret of the Mimic's a great game. It's not as scary. It's got its scary moments. I just think it's better Security Breach, and the atmosphere. I mean, just this is really cool. That's really what I like about it, and it's a prequel to everything. Yeah, I think with the success of FNAF, I think it's definitely, like I said, due to Markiplier. He definitely helped. I don't even know what came after FNAF. I don't know which indie horror game was next, but I'm just gonna say Bendy. I love Bendy. Bendy is a great game. Its story is really cool. I think it's one of the more successful indie horror games besides Baldi and Poppy's Playtime. Unlike Poppy's Playtime, I think Bendy is genuinely good. And I mean, I don't think Poppy's Playtime is horrible, but it's definitely not that great. When Dark Revival came out, it was so huge. I freaking love that game. I love Ink Machine too, but Dark Revival is so good. Audrey is such a good protagonist, and I cannot wait for the Cage and Bendy and the Ink Factor, I'm pretty sure it's called. I can't wait for those to come out. Um, and the Meat Lead, he didn't. Bendy wasn't inspired by FNAF. I don't think he hates FNAF now, but he actually drew the first piece of FNAF fan art, and it was hating on the game, um, which I think's funny. But um, yeah, I think Bendy's just a great game, and I think the way that they're handling it by taking it kind of slower because of the style that they go for it's great. I think it's definitely got some good horror elements. The story is great, like I said. Art style is phenomenal, and yeah. And Dark Revival even improves on that with the combat. It's more open than anything. And then Baldi's Basics. I like Baldi for uh what it is with the old school aesthetic. Um, you know, it reminds me a lot of Sonic's Schoolhouse, if anybody knows what that is. And I think that's like the point, to remind you of old educational games. I mean, obviously that's kind of the whole point. And Tattletale. Oh my sweet Tattletale. Do I miss you so much. Tattletale is such a great game, and if I ever get it on my computer, I'm making a series on it or a video on it at least. I love that. I've loved Tattletale so much. I think it's such a great game, and I wish we had Tattletale 2. I think I I don't know. Tattletale is just so good. It's so basic, and that's what makes it good. I feel like it's fun, and I think those are the goods of indie horror games. I think FNAF has definitely taken its toll. Um, while I think Secret of the Mimic is one of the better modern FNAF games, I definitely think Steelwool could be doing better, especially with the marketing. The marketing for Secret of the Mimic was so bad. Like I forgot it came out, and okay, the only reason why I got it on the day it came out was because it was in my wish list and Steam sent me a reminder. The marketing for this game was abysmal. It was not good, and Steelwool and Scott even needs to stop marketing FNAF as as like it's still an indie game, because it is not. It is a lot bigger than anyone intended, and it's just it came from indie roots. Obviously, we know this, but it is not an indie game anymore, and they really need to stop treating it like that, because it's I think that's what's holding it back. Um, like, just look at games like Hollow Knight and Silksong. Those are indie games with a small team of devs, and its marketing was a lot better than this. I actually remember the day this Silksong came out. Did I play it? No, because but still, it had better than the marketing than Secret of the Mimic. Now we're gonna get to the bad.
I'm Jumbo Josh, brah, from Indie Horror to BanBan, brah.
I'm mainly going to be talking about Poppy's playtime for this. I have played chapters 1 and 3, 1 through 3. I played 1, 2, and 3. Chapter 1 was good. I'll give them that. Chapter 1 was pretty good. It set the basis. It had the event chase scene with Huggy Wuggy. It had its scary moments. It was not bad. Then chapter 2 came out, and I think it was a bit lighter. I liked Mommy Longlegs with the being that I like the premise of Poppy Playtime with like the different like children's toys from back in the day. That's kind of like the thing with like Mommy Longlegs being like those stretchy arm guys, but I mean it's a spider, but still, I think that's cool. I think the concept of Poppy's Playtime is great. I don't think the way they're handling it is great. Especially Mob Entertainment, they're not the best. I'll give them that. Um, Especially since they were working with Zam Nations, and Zam Nations is a great animation team on YouTube. They started making a lot of brain rot content with Digital Circus, FNAF, Bendy, all that stuff, but they're not doing that anymore. They actually regret doing it, and they're no longer working with Mob Entertainment, because Mob Entertainment was kind of pushing that brain rot out to them, and they didn't want to do it anymore. I think that's great for them. I'm really happy. I hope they succeed. Bobby Playtime, just I don't know what's going on. Again, chapter 1 was good, chapter 2 was good, chapter 3 was great. I actually really liked chapter 3. It's definitely had some of the scariest moments, and Catnap was cool. I think the final like boss, whatever you want to call it, was good. Um and then chapter 4, I didn't play chapter 4, but from what I've seen and heard, it was not good. It was, I think, like people, it was buggy. It just wasn't good in general. And then chapter 5 came out, and I think the main um hurt, I guess, from chapter 5 was it being too puzzle based, not horror based. There's too many puzzles. I think that was the main complaint I heard. Again, I haven't played it, so I can't give my own opinion. And it's okay to have puzzles in a horror game. I mean, I'm literally doing it right now as we are speaking. Resident Evil does it. That's the whole point of Resident Evil, was being a puzzle horror game. But Resident Evil is actually good. Besides 6. That's more of an action game, but that's besides the point. I'll talk about Resident Evil in a different video. Having a horror game with too many puzzles doesn't make it a horror game. It just makes it a puzzle game with horror elements, and not a horror game with puzzle elements, such as Resident Evil. Like this part right here. While it has a puzzle area with the elevator here, you have to go up here to get a code, but the mimic is chasing you. That, it adds scariness to it. Is it the scariest part in this game? No, but it has scary moments where, like, Poppy Playtime, its scariest moment is being chased. It's mainly chase scenes, which again, it's fine to have that in um horror games, but when that's like the main thing, it's like, what are we doing, The thing with Poppy Playtime is that I think it could be good, and it's definitely not horrible compared to the last thing we're about to talk about. It just has its flaws, but I mean, so does FNAF. I'm playing a somewhat flawed game right now. Um, but it has things that could be worked on, and I think it could really be really good if it worked on those things, such as focusing more on the horror and story than just puzzle. Again, there's something wrong with having puzzles. I'm literally doing one right now. Now we're gonna get to the deplorable, which is the Garten of BanBan. Now I love Garten of BanBan, ironically. I think it's hilarious. It is stupidly bad, and I think that's what makes that. I think that's why I like it. I like bad things. Well, in a way, I can admit when a game's not good, but like goofy, it's like movies, like I like watching goofy bad movies, like the Minecraft movie. Do I think it's a good movie? Eh, but it's definitely a goofy movie, and it knows what it is. That's not what I meant to do, and that's what makes it, you know, enjoyable. You're not supposed to take it seriously, but the creators of Garten of Banban are taking themselves way too seriously. And I own 4 of the games, thanks to my good friend Addison Rex, who made the thumbnail of this video, by the way. So check him out. They're just trying too hard. They're taking themselves way too seriously, I feel like. And that's just not good. I've played them though, most of them. It is a game that exists. It's just hard to talk about it because of how bad it is. It's hard to talk about it when besides just saying it is bad, because that is what it is. It is just bad. I think the character's fun. I think Jumbo Josh is hilarious. I think it's an amazing character. I mean, it is just funny. And I like it because it's fun, like bad funny, but it's also just bad. Like, that's about it. That's all I can really say about it. It's just bad. The thing about Garten of Banban 2 is that I legitimately do not know the story of it. Like, you can have a bad game and still have an understandable story. I have no idea what the story of Garten of Banban is, besides experiments to just keep pumping them out. I mean, it's like AI slop, but without the AI. It's just slop. Back to the main topic. I've just been kind of yapping about indie horror games, but the main thing I want to talk about is just kind of how they've fallen. Like, we started off really good. FNAF was at its peak, was phenomenal. Bindi, still to this day, is goated. Tattletale, phenomenal. Baldi, still pretty good. I mean, not the greatest thing, but it's still good. I still play it every now and then just because it's kind of fun to run around and do whatever. Um, Poppy's Playtime. I mean, again, like I said, the first 3 chapters were pretty good, and then they fallen from grace if they ever were up there. Garten of Banban, it's just hell itself. They went straight there. There was no grace period. They didn't fall from anything. They just started there. um, that might have been a little mean, but still, horror games just started off so well. And I'm talking about the popular ones. There are some good indie horror games out there, but so many of the popular ones have just not been hitting. And it is just like, what happened? What happened to our self-esteem, guys? Again, I'm not saying FNAF, modern day FNAF is perfect, in no means. I definitely think it has its issues, but I would so much rather play Security Breach or Secret and Mimic over his Poppy Playtime. And whether that just be because I like FNAF more and I'm a sucker for it, so be it. But Poppy's Playtime is just not that great. I find it boring, and I most definitely almost fell asleep playing Chapter 1, 2, and 3 probably not. But still, Garten of Banban, only time I had fun on that game was playing it with my friend while watching me, because we were just goofing off and making fun of how bad the game was, and Jumbo Josh every time he popped up on screen. Does that make your game good? No. I love indie horror games. I will always love indie horror games, and I'm glad that people are trying to pursue something, and I'm not trying to push anyone down from doing what they want to do, whether that be make Garten of Banban or Poppy's Playtime. It's still what they want to do, and they're pursuing their passion, dream, whatever you want to call it. That's great. It's what Scott did. He wanted to be a video game developer, and he made Five Nights at Freddy's. Bindi and Egg Machine, another passion project that turned out really well, really good. Baldi's Basics, another passion project. They're all passion projects, just some are better than others. I'm gonna start repeating myself. Yeah, if there are any other topics you think I should talk about, please let me know. My next rant video will probably Persona or Resident Evil. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. If you didn't, dislike it. Subscribe if you're not already. Hit the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.